guys, welcome to Check Your Leader TV, and today in this video I'm going to do just a quick review of Henry Turner miniatures. Now Henry Turner miniatures are available through my mini factory. I'll put a link in the description below, and you can obtain from Henry Turner miniatures STL files for printing everything from Napoleonic infantry and cavalry and artillery through to 18th century Napoleonic warships, ironclads, modern and by modern I mean Cold War era miniatures. But specifically what we're going to look at today is just the Napoleonic infantry, because that's what I've downloaded so far and printed. I have also purchased some of the Age of Admirals Napoleonic vessels, but I haven't got around to printing them off yet. So specifically what we're going to look at is the Napoleonic infantry, but more broadly we'll look at Henry Turner miniatures insofar as what else you can obtain online via his online presence at my mini factory. Okay, so without further ado, we're going to jump straight in and we're going to look at the 6mm Napoleonics. And I must say, what I've seen of them so far with printing off and my initial attempts at painting them, I'm pretty impressed. I think these are really nice miniatures, and are a pretty good value-wise. I think they're a really good option if you're interested in getting into Napoleonics in 6mm. And with that in mind, because they're 3D prints, they're completely scalable. So you could certainly use these 6mm files and create 10mm, 15mm miniatures. And if you're into the Warlord games epic scale, well, these might fill a gap in those ranges that you might be looking at diving into. So without further ado, let's have a look at Henry Turner's miniatures. Okay, so here are some of the miniatures that I've been working on. I've printed off some French cuirassiers, or are these carabiniers? Actually, I think they're carabiniers. No, that's a cuirassier officer there. But there's the little chap in 6mm. Here's some infantry that I've printed off and quickly painted. Now, I thought initially, man, this is going to be so hard to paint 6mm, but it's not. It's actually surprisingly easy. The trick is just to deceive the eye, essentially. You don't have to go into too much detail, but to give you an idea, here's some French voltigeurs in march attack pose. Okay. The trick with 6mm is the mass effect. Now, I'm going to be basing on bases such as this for Blucher, or Blucher, depending how you want to pronounce it. Point to note, you can even get skirmishers. I mean, you know, there's a couple of guys there skirmishing. One's loading, one's advancing. Here's another guy loading, one firing, one's kneeling, firing, and kneeling, loading. There's musicians, like you can get in the skirmishing poses, you get guys with their little horns, bugles, trumpets, toot toot, pop pop. You get eagle bearers with eagle guards with their halberds. You can get in the pack there, the command pack, you have also drummers. Whoops, I've just dropped this fella. You get an officer, drummer, pioneer, an NCO. Same with the eagle bearers. You get you can have guys that are just carrying standards. So for the 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th battalions of a French regiment, because they didn't all carry eagles, despite what people might suggest. And of course you get your mounted officer as well. And when you can print your own miniatures, you can decide, well, how many figures per battalion do I want? Now, obviously, I've printed quite a lot. And I print them off in strips like so. These guys are obviously elite company. They can either be grenadiers or voltigeurs in the 1812 uniform, when the grenadiers and carabineers gave up their bearskins and colpacks and took on shakos instead. But this is just one box of a whole. I've got about 6 boxes of these at the moment, all printed up, and I'll probably paint most of them myself, but I might even send some off to an artist to paint for me, because I've got so much to paint at the moment. But that gives you some idea of the quality of the miniatures. I mean, for 6mm, they truly are very, very nice. And like I said, there's nothing stopping you from upscaling them to maybe 10 or 12mm. For example, all those people out there who jumped on the Warlord Games epic scale, they decided, true to Warlord Games fashion, they didn't go 15 and they didn't go 10. They didn't try to create models or miniatures that were compatible with Callista or those other people out there that were, I think at Magister Militum, I think they have a Napoleonic range in 10mm or something. Oh, no. They had to create an epic scale. Well, again, the beauty of printing your own, you can just upscale these to match exactly Warlord Games miniatures. I've seen, and if you've got skills, like I've seen examples of guys who have actually changed the proportions, because in 6mm, obviously they look a little cartoonish, but that's kind of, you always get that, you know, their heads are a little bit bigger than you would expect. But I've seen individuals or examples of individuals who've scaled them and also changed the proportions as well, which you can do through your slicing program. But anyway, that's Henry Turner's Napoleonic miniatures. I'll just grab some cannons and show you the guns as well. So here are some of the guns that I've printed off. You can actually tell the difference between the larger caliber guns. I think this one, off the top of my head, I think that's a French 8-pounder, and I'm pretty sure this is the French 12-pounder. Yeah, the barrels are larger. So anyway, long story short, you've got ample artillery to choose from as well. I have also printed off some Prussians, some 1806 Prussians. Well, actually, these guys are 1806 French. So these are the ones here with the bicorn, and they're wearing them fore and aft and starboard port as well. So they're available. When I print in the darker resin, unfortunately, I'm going to see if I've got any. Here we go. Here's some in the grey resin, and you can see them, the detail a little bit better, I think, when you use grey as opposed to the black resin. But when you paint them, it doesn't really matter. So yeah, black resin, grey resin, whatever. No matter what, I always undercoat in black, and then I go from there. So they're very, very nice miniatures. And they're very easy to print. There was no, I downloaded the files and straight away started printing, and I didn't have any problems at all. Here's a Prussian Schutzen. Here's the little fella, or is, actually, that's not a Prussian Schutzen, that's a Prussian gunner. All right, hand over the touch hole. So long story short, there is plenty to choose from. The range is very extensive, and like I said, all the advantages of once you've got the files, you're free to print as many as you damn well please. So yeah, I recommend you go to My Miniature, actually My Mini Factory it's called, and look for Henry Turner's page. I've included here just some pictures of some of his miniatures that have been painted to a far better standard than I've done. I've really just, I've only just started tinkering with doing 6mm, painting 6mm, and I think to a degree I'm probably trying to do too much, or maybe I'm not doing enough. Regardless, you can see here that the kind of standards you can achieve with 6mm. Here we see some Prussians, 1806. And again, like I said, you can scale them. You see them here, 10mm scale, 15, 18, and the like. Like I said, that's one of the real advantages of being scalable. The Age of Admirals Kickstarter, Blood on the Nile is the one that I got onto, but there's a few others there as well. Obviously, these Kickstarters are over now, but the bottom line is the miniatures are there, or the files are there for you to obtain. And you can see that on the left here, what a miniature looks like, and then when some work is done in changing the proportions. If you go to Henry Turner's YouTube page, you'll find lots of information there on suggestions on what you can do with the files to get the absolute most out of them. So now just to finally wrap up, Henry has got a new Kickstarter coming. As you can see, these are some of the ones he's had before. Like I said, I jumped on the Age of Admirals, Europe Asunder 2. Obviously there was the Europe Asunder, the Great War, Union Asunder. Anyway, long story short, he's got another one coming out shortly. I think it's a medieval Kickstarter, and I, for one, I'm going to be pretty keen to jump on that. You know, never mind the bill hooks, 6mm. Yeah, it sounds interesting. It's the kind of thing that I'm going to be keen to have a look at. Now, before I go, I will show you just one more thing. This is in relation to the Union Asunder Kickstarter that Henry did. And what this little video we see here is what they call doing a flick test. But what it also highlights is the fact that even once you've bought the files, there is a lot of ongoing support. For example, every now and then I receive updates saying that there's been an update to a certain file and whatnot. But anyway, before I sign off, just have a watch of this.
Hey there guys, thank you for checking out the Kickstarter. This is Henry Turner of Turner Miniatures, and I'm here with the standard flick test, which 15mm printers love to show off, just to show the durability of our models. So here I'm flicking the bayonet of this Union soldier, just showing that it's fairly tough. I will admit I'm a bit worried about scuffing up my paintwork, but I get a little bit more gingerly with the next one. Here's the next pose. This is a guy biting his cartridge, and again I'm going to flick the bayonet. One word to say about these sculpts is that they are prototype prints, and I'm going to amend the final ones. I've since found out that the muskets are in the wrong position. They should be in front of the soldier facing toward him, so the bayonet's not blocking his loading. So these are not the final sculpts we get in the print. Within the first week of launching funding, I'm going to revise these. This firing man is fine though, and as you see, his musket is plenty rigid. So yeah, these are durable little prints. I hope soon to show you some Confederates. A good friend of mine's painting them up as we speak. So thanks for checking it out.
And you can see here the pre-supports, or the supports that are in when you print the miniatures. Even in when I print in 6mm, you do get some, especially for the skirmishes, you do get supports on the muskets. So the files are pretty much, you just download, print and play. Yeah, we'll just wrap it up there. This video's already gone a bit longer than I was planning on doing. I was hoping to get it under 10 minutes, so I think we're already at 20. But anyway, Henry Turner Miniatures, if you haven't checked them out, check them out. They're worth looking at. You don't have to buy bucket loads. You can get specific files for specific troops that you want. Obviously, if you can get on the Kickstarter, like for the one that's coming up for the medieval period, and that's something that you think you're going to want to buy a lot of miniatures, then you'll be, quite frankly, I think it makes a lot more economical sense to jump on the Kickstarter. But if you just want a handful of miniatures, by all means, just go on to My Mini Factory, look for Henry Turner's page. I'll put a link in the description below, and then help yourself. There are, I believe, there's some free samples you can download if you just want to test the waters. But like I said, I highly recommend, if 6 to up to 15 millimeter is your thing, you can't go wrong. And there's so much to look at, not only with the land army types, but also with the Napoleonic vessels. And there's things like ironclads in there, 17th century galleys and the like. Man, it's just there's so much there, and too much for me to try to remember it all. But yeah, check it out. That's all for this video, and we will catch you on the next one, as they like to say. So long, and take care. Yuba Kway.